Happy Tuesday, everybody. Today's ABC lesson is going to be the letter G and the letter S. Get it? I'm sawing with my letter S page. All right, and these are pages 29 and 30 in your ABC packet. So first, let's start with the letter G. The letter G is not an easy letter to make, and also grown-ups like to write a big G some different ways. But we are going to learn it our way. Now, we talked about this one a little bit in class. As we can see, it is one of our magic C letters because we are going to start with a C when we make the letter G. Okay, so like yesterday, we get our bunny, our magic C bunny. Start at the top, in the middle, not at Mr. Smiley, and we're going to make a big curve down. Okay, big curve down. Remember, that's the big shape we start with, big curve down. So I am going to tilt my camera. Hopefully you guys can see it. So when we look at it here, we have a big curve, we have a little line, and then we have another little line. But when we write it, we want to make our big curve and our little line all in one big motion, in one big shape. Okay? So if we look down here, we can see that this area right here, it's got a nice little curve on it. Can you see that little curve right there? It doesn't look curved right here when we have our big curve and our little line, right? We have a little sharp edge right there. That's just to help us understand what shape it's going to be, all right? But when we actually write it, we want to give it a nice curve. So I'm going to get my pencil. Hopefully you guys can see this. We're going to start in the middle like our C. Big curve down, and without picking up my pencil, I'm going to curve up into that little line. Did you see how I did that? I'll do it again. Start in the middle. Big curve down. Don't pick up your pencil. Keep going and curve it up to the middle. Okay? And then our last line is just that little straight line across, okay, for our letter G. Now, sometimes when grown-ups make a G, they might leave out this part of the line, or actually, no, they leave out this part of the line. Sometimes when you see grown-ups make a G, they'll make a big curve, bring it up, and hook it back in. And that's okay, too, but this is how we're going to learn ours today with the line going all the way across. Let's do it again. Start in the middle, big curve like you would make the letter C. I'm not going to pick up my pencil yet. I'm going to curve it back up and then put that line on it. See there? So if I'm making my G down here by myself, it might be hard to know when to start to curve up, right? I might make my big curve and I just keep going. And oh my goodness, I gotta bring it back up. Uh-oh. That's kind of a silly looking G, right? He got the right parts, but he's a little chubby. He ate too much. So remember, we make that big curve just like we do with our C. And as soon as we get down there in the middle of the bottom, bring it back up, curve it back up, okay? The G is not easy. So if you have a little bit of trouble with it, don't be discouraged, right? We have lots of time to learn how to write our G. And the G is just one of those things, like I said, grown-ups don't always write it the same way either. So that's okay. But several of you, your last name starts with a letter G. So I bet you guys already have some good practice. And for the rest of you, you'll get it in no time. The letter G. Okay. And the next one. Oh, I picked two tricky letters today, didn't I, on the same day? The next one is the letter S. Oh, we didn't even talk about G, the sound G makes. Oh, goodness. 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 The letter G. G. Like glove. Or goodness. Or God. Right? Our God. He starts with a big G, doesn't he? So you guys can color that glove. That looks like what kind of glove? What do you think that glove is for? For baseball? I think that's a baseball glove. A baseball mitt. Okay, and then our next one is S, like saw. S. Saw. Or Sarah. Or sweet. Silly. stinky, right? We know the letter S. We know the sound that the letter S makes. But writing the letter S can sometimes be hard, right? There's lots of curves. Sometimes we don't know when to stop the curves. When I was growing up, the letter S was one of the letters I had the hardest time with. Usually my S would end up having a weird curly Q in it somewhere, but that's okay. I learned how to write my S eventually, so we're going to practice it again today, and hopefully I can give you guys some tips on how to know which way to start your S, which way to curve your S. So, put my paper down. Okay. Oop, goodness. All right, so if we look here on our paper, our letter S has two small curves. And I know when we did our wet, dry, try in the classroom on our chalkboards, we talked about making a little C and then putting another little C going the other way. I think some of you that helped, and some of you it just confused you more. But I was thinking another way that we can think of it. So if we look here at our chalkboard, we have Mr. Smiley right here in the corner. But the letter S doesn't start at Mr. Smiley. It starts in the middle. So since we're starting in the middle, it might be nice if we wave at Mr. Smiley while we're making our S. So you start in the middle and you're going to curve down, say, "Hi, Mr. Smiley," and then come back around for your last small curve. So let's try it down here. Okay, I'm going to draw my Mr. Smiley up here in the corner because that's where he would be, right? I hope you can see that. See, I drew my little Mr. Smiley. You can draw him if you want to, or you can just imagine him there. I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to make a small curve. "Hi, Mr. Smiley," and curve the other way, right? We'll do it again here. We'll practice. Oh, Mr. Smiley right here. Okay, start in the middle, small curve. "Hi, Mr. Smiley," curve back around. So see, if we went the other way, we wouldn't see Mr. Smiley, would we? Oops. See, we went this way. We went this way, we wouldn't see Mr. Smiley. We'd be going the other way. So if you're having a hard time remembering which way to curve your S, think, I need to go say hi to Mr. Smiley. We're going to curve that way, say hi to Mr. Smiley, and then curve back around, right? And again, just like the G, if you're having a hard time getting your S to face the right way, that's okay. If you can't remember, at least practice making that small curve and small curve and getting it to fit in your space, all right? The S and the G take a lot of control with your pencil, and that's something that we're learning. That's something we've been working on this year, and that's one thing we've talked about, strengthening the muscles in our hands. All those things will help you learn to write a better S, be able to write a better S. The other thing I forgot to mention to parents, this is a note to parents and grown-up helpers, if you wondered why the pencil I included is about this tall, it's because small hands need small tools. Small crayons, small pencils, things like that that they have to move. We call it a drag. They have drag to them, will all help them build the muscles in their hands and be able to write better in the future, right? Because that's what we're working towards. Big chunky things like the Husky pencils that I used to write with, or markers, those things are fine, but really they're harder to write with. If you can think about yourself writing, right? Think about how small the pencil is. Now, what if I had a pencil the size of my energy drink can? Makes it a little clunkier and really a little harder. So it's a common misconception that we need to give younger kids bigger utensils, but really small hands need small tools. So tiny broken pencils, golf pencils, broken crayons, all those things are things we use in the classroom to help build our muscles and improve our grip so that we can write better. Markers are fun, but we kind of say markers are like candy. They're a nice treat every now and then, but they're not the main dish. So in case you wondered, I finally addressed it 4 weeks into our learning. But if you're looking for new things for them to write with, small pencils, small crayons. As far as handwriting is concerned, I would discourage pens or markers. But of course, those things are fun to write with when we're just enjoying ourselves and coloring and things like that. Those are great. All right. Good luck, you guys. I'll see you later.